some mangas are just unhinged. Unhinged in a way you don't even know how they even got published. And you have to think, what were the authors smoking while making this manga? And one such manga which falls into this category is called Ichi the Killer. And hands down, it is one of the most unhinged shit I've ever read. And I don't want to admit, but I have read my fair share of unhinged mangas. Not because I enjoy them, definitely not, but just because of curiosity. But often you hear people say ignorance is bliss, and this time it was truly that case because the things in this manga truly lives rent free in my head and I wish to make them disappear. Now let's get into this manga and what makes this manga unhinged. And just a fun fact to put it out, the author of this manga is Yamamoto Hideo. And if it rings a bell, it is the same author of the manga Homunculus. So you know where we are going with this manga. First, the basic plot of this manga. This manga starts by showing us the infamous red light district and the lawless nature of it. And these red light districts are controlled by yakuzas. And matter of fact, these yakuzas are so powerful that they have their own multi-apartment. And the police and the government can't lay their hands on them. And our main character and the group will now kill the yakuza leader. And this whole manga is basically about how the main character will kill the remaining upper ranks of the yakuza while they also kind of retaliate. And now something to picture about how unhinged this manga will be, and this literally happens in the first 2 or 3 chapters. So the yakuza leader, before being killed, is having a great time with a 17-year-old. This is also a perfect time for our main character Ichi to strike and kill both of them. And the remaining 4 people of our group comes here to clean the aftermath and the mess which Ichi made. And there is this one character in our group which clearly seems to be kind of huffing and puffing, but not at the mess which Ichi made, but rather at the sight of the 17-year-old girl which is dead. And to my surprise, turns out this guy wants to fuck the dead corpse of a 17-year-old. He has kind of a necrophilia fetish. I don't know about anybody else, but having seen this scene in literal first 3 chapters had me shook. As you can see from his banners, the violent scenes are pretty unhinged, like blood, gore, body parts everywhere. But this over-the-top violence can be seen in like every scene in manga, and even more in these horror mangas where these scenes are even more extreme. And what this manga does differently, not in a good way though, is adding some sexual theme to most of the violent scenes. Not to mention there are some sexual violence, rape scenes which are very frequent. Just to put a glimpse of it, we can see detailed chapters about dicks getting mutilated. On this one scene, we have this guy who gets mad at these girls and cuts her nipples and starts chewing it like a fucking chewing gum. But the most deplorable part of this manga are the characters themselves. The plot is so simple that what pushes the story is the characters. And to no one's surprise, the characters are one of the worst I've ever seen. Firstly, the main antagonist of the story, this guy, and this guy is actually a masochist. Now actually I cannot show this without censoring this picture, but let me describe it anyway. This point right here, he's wearing a gimp mask, as you can see, and here his nipples are being clipped. And of course we have the rope play, the classic bondage, and which covers to his dick, which is squeezed the fuck out of. And while this guy is a masochist, he's also a sadist, and the acts which he commits himself, he also inflicts on others. And for obvious reasons, I cannot show it. And now to pan to the other characters. We have this old guy which is on our side, and he kind of manipulates the main character. We have also these 3 on our side. They are basically like side characters, but they get killed. This guy right here gets his dick mutilated afterwards, while this guy, his girl gets raped and beat to death, while he himself dies too. And this dude and this guy I mentioned earlier who likes necrophilia. But a little fun spoiler, this guy dies and his last wish was to be fucked after his death, and which also happens because the main antagonist is like, hey dude, can please fuck him, with tears in his eyes. And this scene kind of reminded me of this Homelander scene in The Boys. And now by far the most unhinged character, our main character. And to put in simple terms, our main character is a sadist. Like he kills people with these blades attached to this ninja turtle suit and he chops everything and turns everything into a mess. This suit kind of reminds me of Moomin Rider too, but they are far from each other. And after he kills someone, he jerks off to it and leaves a boiling semen in the floor. And let's not forget, he's like mentally handicapped too. Like bro's got some like personality disorder too. And the old guy I mentioned before basically manipulates him to kind of commit murders by bringing up his past. But one of the most deplorable things happens in his backstory. You see, he was kind of like bullied as a high schooler, but he was not the only one getting bullied. There was also this girl, and she had it worse. She was getting beaten up repeatedly. He was getting raped, forced to drink piss and shit, and just horrible things, man. And our main character was basically forced to see that stuff, and sometimes even kind of forced to do that stuff to her as well. And normally I don't know what to do at this situation, but what it did for our main character is to awaken his sadist nature. And by far the most vile thing ever said in the manga history is when our main character makes his resolve and says these golden words: "She wanted me to rape." I mean, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, man. This is literally the line he says. And the old man was basically manipulating behind the scenes, but to come to a such conclusion, man, I don't know. It's pretty messed up. Now, I guess I will end it here. I would definitely recommend this manga because it is kind of a like an experience thing. And it's, to say the least, not really bad too.
Are you sure about that?
It also seems to have a live action, which has decent ratings and seems pretty well received and is also brutal as well. So let me know what you think about this manga. Have you read this or do you plan to read this? Regardless, I hope you all the best. Thank you for watching.